the importer need to actually place an order, and that is how he'll get those requirements, whether it can be done or it cannot be done. So these are the front end and the back end support which the exporter will give it to the importer. Now he provides a document called Import General Manifest. What is it? It is called as Import General Manifest. So illegal things can come to the country through the process of importing and exporting. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I'm Abhilash Chandra from the Department of Business Studies in Vidyashram PU College, the Temple of Excellence. Welcome to all the students here. Now we'll go with the 11th session, and here in this session I'll be explaining you the remaining topic of the import procedure. Now in the previous session I've discussed about the trade inquiry, procurement of import license, obtaining foreign exchange, placing order or indent. Now placing order or indent in the sense the importer need to actually place an order, and that is how he'll get those requirements, whether it can be done or it cannot be done. Then obtaining letter of credit, and lastly we discussed about the arranging for finance. Now in this chapter and this session we'll actually go with the receipt of shipment, retirement of import document, how our import document will be retired, and arrival of goods, and the last one here is the customs clearance and release of goods. After the arrival of the goods, the import is not done. You are supposed to get the custom clearance, and the Port Blair or wherever you actually go with the mode of transforming and the transport of business is, if you go with the flight, the custom is totally different. If you go with the railways, it is different, and if you go with shipment, it is totally different. But you are supposed to get a custom clearance, and then your goods will be released. So these are the import procedure which we are supposed to understand. Now I have already told you about all the following till this arranging for finance. In this session we'll go with the receipt of shipment advice. Now what is this receipt of shipment advice? After loading the goods on the vessel, when I say the vessel, that is a container of the shipment, the overseas supplier dispatches the shipment advice. What is it? He'll go with dispatch of the shipment advice. When you go with the shipment advice, what exactly it is? The shipment advice means what? It contains information. What does it contain? It contains information. It contains information about the shipment, what really is happening. And here you need to understand that the information provided in the shipment advice includes details such as invoice number. You will have a number in all the invoice, that is what you will have it. The bill of lading, if it is airways, it is called airways bill, and number and date will be mentioned, the name of the vessel, that is the container, whether which container that particular shipment is going on, and the goods are there with a date, port of export, description of goods, and quantity with the date of selling of vessel. That is each and everything, the minute of the minute detail you are supposed to write in the shipment advice. And here what happens is the receipt of shipment advice, when I say that, you are supposed to get it prior. So when you get it prior, what happens is they'll actually post you in the mail, or they'll actually post you to your address, but you will get that invoice. When you get that invoice, that is a receipt, what happens is it's always a back check that whether you have got the same goods, same material or not. So these are the front end and the back end support which the exporter will give it to the importer. Retirement of import document. Now having shipped the goods, the overseas supplier, that is the exporter supplier, prepares a set of necessary documents. Please understand, these are called the necessary documents as per the terms of contract and letter of credit. Now I told you what a letter of credit is, and hands it over to his or her banker, and for their onwards transmission and negotiation to the importer is the manner as specified in the letter of credit. The acceptance of bill exchange, that is bill of exchange for the purpose of getting delivered of the document, is known as retirement of import documents. Once the retirement is over, the bank hands over the import documents to the importer. Now this is what is called retirement of import document. Now what here happens is, having shipped the goods, the overseas supplier is who? The exporter. So who is the overseas supplier? That is the exporter. Prepares a set of necessary documents. Now here what happens is, he'll give all the documents to the banker. Now who is the person who will take it? That is the banker, and the banker will actually go with more negotiation and he'll go with it. Now when he goes with it, what happens is, the other bank will actually go with acceptance of bill of exchange. They'll go with the bill of exchange for the purpose of getting delivery. The other bank will go with getting delivery of the document. That is known as the retirement of import document. Arrival of goods. Now goods are shipped by the overseas supplier as per the contract. Yes, the exporter will actually supply the goods as per the contract they have done, that is from the exporters and the importer. The person in charge of the carrier, that is the ship or airway, it can be anything, right? Inform the officer in charge at the dock or the airport about the arrival of goods in the importing country. Now who should actually be aware? That is the airport person or the port person, and they are supposed to tell these are the things which are coming to the port or the airways. Now he provides a document called Import General Manifest. What is it? It is called as Import General Manifest. Now Import General Manifest is a document that contains the detail of the imported goods. Now what exactly the goods which has come to the country, that is actually been called as the Import General Manifest. It is a document on the basis of which unloading of cargo takes place. Now whatever is mentioned in that particular manifest, only those products should be here. Say example, in the manifest they say that you will be getting say 50 packages. Now in the shipment there are 70 packages. Now the Import General Manifest and the officer who is in charge, he'll only give 50. The remaining 20 he can't, because it has not been tallied. So that's why you are supposed to always go with the proper number, as well as you are supposed to give a proper brief about the product which will arrive for the goods. Custom clearance and release of goods. Now once the goods comes to the port or to the airways, that doesn't mean the entire importing and the exporting is done. You are supposed to first get a custom clearance. All the goods imported into India have to pass through custom clearance after they cross the Indian borders. Now custom clearance is a somewhat tedious process. When I say it is tedious process, because see, no illegal things can come to the country through the process of importing and exporting. That's why there are custom officers who will actually check what are the product which has come, whether it is legal, whether it is illegal, whether they have paid the taxes, whether they have gone with all the procedure properly or not. Tedious process and calls for completing a number of formalities. They have a lot of formalities, to be very precise. The importer has to also pay dock dues and obtain port trust due receipt. Please understand this. Port trust due receipt. For this, the importer has to submit to the landing and shipping dues officer. Now there are 2 copies of duly filled in form of known as application to import. Now the importer should also take a license, isn't it? That is how he will actually produce those documents to the captain. The landing and shipping dues office, that is called as the landing and shipping dues office, levies a charge, that is for services of dock authorities, which has to be borne by the importer. Now who should pay the things? That is the importer need to pay to those people. Now this is how the entire importing procedure will takes place. Now I have told you from the first point to the last point. Any point, if you have any doubt, any confusion, you can raise your comments in the comment box. I'll always be very happy to solve all these answers. Now we'll also know that, see, now we have this importer as well as we have the exporter with us. Now if you go with it, the import and export procedures, there should be something called measuring schemes. Now that is what it is, that is foreign trade promotion measures and schemes. Now detail of various trade promotion, that has been measures and schemes available to business firm to facilitate their export and import operations are announced by the government, and they'll announce the government by the EXIM policy, that is called import export policies, or the export and import policy called as EXIM. Please understand this. What is this called as? EXIM, export import policies. Now I've listed few of the points where you need to understand how this EXIM will go through. Now measures and schemes, major trade promotion measures, that is especially those related to exports, are as follows. The first one is duty drawback schemes. Second is export manufacturing under bond schemes. Exemption from payment of sales tax. There are few things which are exemptions are there, you are supposed to know. Advance license scheme, that is whenever you go with import and export, you are supposed to take license. Now we have a different scheme that is called advance license scheme. Export promotion capital goods scheme, that is a capital goods scheme. This is called EPSCG. EPCG. Now what is this EPCG? That is export promotion capital goods scheme. Now scheme of recognition export firms has export house, trading house and superstar trading houses. So we have different trading houses, that is first one is export house, then we have trading house and superstar trading house. Export of services is also there, export of finance is there, export finance. Then we have export processing zones called as EPZS. Now when we go with EPZ and EPCG, it is for 1 mark. Expand EPZ and expand EPCG, don't get confused with it. And last one is called this 100% EOUS, that is called export oriented unit. So these are the things which the government has done it for a beautiful policy of EXIM, where you are supposed to measure, and these are the schemes. Now when I go with the schemes, understand this is only to help the trade to happen, help the import and export to be very smoothly done, and the government has taken all the initiative. Now when we understand these initiatives taken by the government, you are supposed to also know that there are some responsibility about the exporter as well as importer, that you are supposed to maintain it, because when it comes to custom clearance, it is very risky, as well as it is more formalities are there, and it's a tedious effort. Now what exactly exporter and importer should do is they should always have a healthy relationship with a legal kind of a process, which should always be there. So 100% legally you are supposed to go with import and export, because any illegal things, knowingly or unknowingly, it is there in your container or a vessel or your shipment, what happens is you will be behind the bar, because the law of the land is very strict when it comes to illegality of any kind of a business, and the entire career as well as the business will be in a mess if you go with any of those following things. So you may ask me a question, sir, the import procedure, the export procedure, the schemes and the measures are too very tedious, but still how is that those people who will go with smuggling and they are getting it? Whenever there is a advantage, there is always a disadvantage in the system. That is, we have a pros and we have a con, and we have a boon as well as we have a bane. When you understand these things, though importing and exporting is a complicated issue, if you understand this business, the profitability is also more. When you understand the profitability, I'll tell you what here, you will always get to know that whenever we go with importing and exporting, we get the product the best of the best when you really want to go for importing. Say example, we have this company called Apple. Now in Apple, whenever they go with it, we always import more product from Apple store, that is USA. And US and India have a very cordial relationship. The reason is what? Because of importing and exporting. Importing and exporting can actually make the countries be very friendly, and their policies will be very good. Now if you compare India with some other country where our relation is not at all good, now what happens is the importing and exporting will also decrease. That's the reason the government really wants to have a friendly relationship with all the neighboring countries as well as the countries where we go with more importing and exporting. So thank you so much for the day, and if you have any doubt regarding the import procedure or the export procedure or the entire international business, please feel free and call us. We are always there to help you. Thank you so much. I'll see you when I see you.